All right, here we go. Round 2, because the last video that I thought was streaming did not stream properly. So we are now on round 2. I'm going to go through all that information again. So bear with me. So today's video is part 3 of the tips for TOTs, tethered oral tissues. I am going to be answering the question of, does my baby have a tongue or lip restriction? We'll also quickly talk about buckle ties as well, or the cheek ties. This is another question that I get asked a lot by moms who, are starting to kind of wonder, and they're hearing about tongue ties or lip ties, and they're wondering, does their baby have a tongue tie or lip tie as well? This is starting to be a topic that is talked about more and more now these days, because it is starting to really come up to the surface of a really important piece of the puzzle when we have fussy babies, when we have feeding difficulties, when we have picky eating, when we have various other concerns, reflux, all of that kind of stuff. And so it's not a new concept, but it is one that has been talked about a lot more lately. And so, of course, you've got questions. Does my baby have this too? One of the things that I see is lots and lots of mamas posting pictures of their baby's tongues and lips in Facebook communities and asking whether their baby has a tongue tie or a lip tie from a picture alone. Here's the thing. You cannot diagnose just from a picture. You cannot diagnose just from looking at it. Because I also hear of many moms going to their pediatricians or asking their midwives or pediatric dentist, and they get dismissed. And either they dismiss the existence of a tongue tie altogether, or they have just looked inside the baby's mouth and a little peek in there. Oh, no, everything looks to be working fine. Or they're seeing the baby stick their tongue out. And that is also not a way to diagnose tongue ties. And so I would like to show you and talk through some of the ways that you can start to look and see, does your baby have a restriction? Should you get it further assessed by a professional? So here are some of the things that you can do at home to start thinking and seeing, do you need to even go for an evaluation? Step number 1 is that you're actually going to go through an assessment of symptoms. And I have a symptoms guide or symptoms checklist inside my Tips for TOTs ebook. And you can go through that. There's baby symptoms, there's child symptoms, and then there's also symptoms for mom, because those all count. And so that's step number 1. Step number 2 is that you can actually do a self-assessment by looking under their lips, looking under their tongue at home. Yes, you heard that. You can even start to look at it yourself. You really want to start to feel. So you need to get your fingers inside your baby's mouth, and you need to feel for what is going on. So I'll start with the lip tie. The first thing that you need to do is you need to really see whether you can move the lips. So you're going to get your fingers in to your baby's lips, and you're going to literally see if you can fold it up, and it should cover your baby's nostrils pretty easily. It should fold up pretty easily. Same for the bottom lip. It should fold down pretty easily. For the tongue, you can do something that's called the Murphy maneuver, and you can literally put your finger underneath your baby's tongue and just swipe it under and see, do you feel like a road bump? Is it tight under there? Does your finger get stuck? What do you feel? The other thing that you can look for is when you flip the lip up, do you see that this white frenum is blanching or becoming white? Does it feel tight to you? You can also lift your baby's tongue up if you feel like you really want to give this a good try by sticking your fingers in. So you're going to come from behind. You're going to have your baby sort of in your lap with their head in your lap towards your belly. And you're going to come in from behind, and you're going to put your fingers into their mouth, under their tongue, and lift up. Lift their tongue up. See if you can get that whole tongue. It should touch the palate. If you can't get that tongue up, then it's possible that your baby has a tongue tie, and you should get that further assessed. Same thing for the cheek ties. You're going to run your finger through. Usually the cheek ties are kind of up here and down here. You're just going to run your finger through and see, do you feel any tightness? Do you feel like a little road bump? Does your finger get stuck? Okay. And if it does, then you know, okay, well, there's probably some tightness there. Let me go and get it further assessed by a professional who has additional training in this as well. And then step number 3 of getting assessed is going for that professional assessment. You really want to get a comprehensive oral motor and tongue function assessment from a qualified professional with additional training in tethered oral tissues, because this is really not taught in any healthcare school, any healthcare curriculum, not pediatricians, not dentists, not speech language pathologists, not OTs or occupational therapists, not even lactation consultants. It's not taught in the curriculum. You need to find somebody, so whether it's an international board certified lactation consultant, pediatric dentist, speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, even sometimes, they need to have had additional postgraduate training, okay? Because this takes a lot more training than just one lesson in, med school, or one lesson or one sentence in a textbook that you read in your whatever program you were in. And so this is part of the problem, is that not enough people know about this, and they're just dismissing it because they don't know. Okay. And that's not doing a good service to our society, unfortunately. So you really want to make sure that whoever you're going to has this additional training. And the key is that they are looking and feeling inside the mouth. Looking is not enough. Measuring is not enough. They need to really they need to check the appearance, of course. They need to measure where the length is and where the distance is, where the attachment is of the frenum under the tongue, for example. But they really need to feel inside the mouth too, to fully understand whether there is a restriction or not. The function of the tongue, you need to look at the range of motion of the tongue. Is it moving side to side? Is it moving up to the palate? That is actually the most important. Does it go up to the palate? If not, then there's probably a restriction there. Out and in also, but that's not as important as side to side and up and down. And you also need somebody who's going to look at it, who's going to feel it, but who's also going to consider the functional limitations that this is causing in your life for your baby and for yourself. So looking at those symptoms, looking at how it's affecting their life, looking and seeing and weighing those as much as the appearance, okay? So I'm getting off my soapbox now. And if you would like more information on all of this is found inside my Tips for Tots ebook. It's a low-cost ebook. I give all the information that I have learned that would be helpful for you in terms of what are tethered oral tissues, what are the symptoms to look for, how to prepare for a release, all about understanding what the wound care is and why it's important, how to do it, as well as what kinds of exercises and things that you can do at home with your baby to get that tongue moving before and after the release. Okay. I also talk about who are some of the people that you want on your team and why, right? Because it's not just about getting the release one and done and you're finished. No, you need to retrain those tissues to work properly. Okay. So if you have missed part 1 and 2, I highly recommend that you go and watch those. And if you need more support, please feel free to reach out, or you can find the link to the Tips for Tots ebook under this video. Bye for now, everyone. Have a wonderful day.